Everybody, first of all, I would like to thank very much for this opportunity to make a speech at the Open Forum for EPAAC. I am working in Health Research Institute, which is a certified WHO collaborating center, mainly doing research in prevention of chronic diseases, as well as taking responsibility to promote and advocate evidence-based public health strategies in this way, in this situation, cancer screening as well. But today I will speak on behalf of the participants from ESSM training course that we had in Lyon, where we learned a lot during this course, obtained a new knowledge, also exchanged different experience, and probably one of the most important things, we identified major obstacles for successful implementation of well-organized, effective population-based cancer screening programs. So the topic is overcoming barriers to screening in new member states, candidate and potential candidate countries. I would like to start with the data from my own country, from Lithuania, which can illustrate that probably not only our country, but the other countries as well need more knowledge and more experience and more training in the field of screening. The burden of cervical cancer in Lithuania is much higher compared to other countries, reaching the incidence rates of 18.4 and mortality rate 7.4. In spite of the fact that we started a cervical cancer screening program in 2004 and recently we have just finished the third round of the program, the performance indicators show that the situation is not very favorable. As you can see, the invitation rate is 55% and participation rate is 36%. Coming back to the training course, what we did in the group works on the second part of the course in 2013 in IARC was that we identified 5 major challenge groups that retard the implementation of effective screening programs. So these challenges refer to problems in program strategy and organization models, also in coordination and management, in data linkages, quality assurance, and integration of scientific research. And what is also important that we elaborated and identified not only the problems, but the possible solutions that could be applied. So the first group of challenges is it should be admitted that in many settings there is a poor understanding of the effectiveness of different organization models of screening programs. And sometimes screening policy do not comply with the EU guidelines, meaning that starting screening at early age at frequent intervals cannot assure proper management of screen positives and therefore require more resources and end up in expensive policies. Also, lack or insufficient invitational systems end up in a poor attendance rate, mainly from 10 to 30% in many countries. Pricing issues refer to the problems that tenders are not done in open manner or the prices for screening are the same inside and outside of the program. It is a pity that midwives are not sufficiently involved in cervical cancer screening, although it is evident that such way is efficient and cost-effective as well. The non-validated methods that are used in screening are incapable of recognizing precancerous lesions effectively. And also it was stated that there is a limited evaluation of performance indicators and outcomes due to limited IT-based data collection. And opportunistic screening tests are rarely included in regular screening registration. Thus, there is limited data on overscreened population. So what could be done in this situation? There's a possible sequence of steps that could be applied. So first it would be necessary to assess the situation, identify the problem, of course to recognize it among decision makers, then plan the action, perform the feasibility demonstration and pilot studies, evaluate the results, modify if necessary, do appropriate health economic evaluation, and extend the program. In order to follow EU Council recommendations to collect, manage, and evaluate all the data on screening tests, further assessments, and diagnosis, it is necessary to have centralized data systems. And during the work groups, it was elaborated that there are quite many problems in linkage of individual personal data sets. Mainly, some of the countries have problems with the registration of personal medical data without informed consent. There was a lot of discussion about that yesterday, and there's a lack of exemption in national legislation. So the best solution would be to develop appropriate legal framework. Sometimes, depending on the national implementation of the EU Data Protection Directive, it is possible to obtain authorization of Data Protection Agency and to use data for research purposes. And the third solution would be to implement pseudonymization. When this group of quality assurance was formed in our course, this group attained most of the attention. Many major part of the participants wanted to express their opinions and problems in quality assurance, meaning that probably all of the countries have the problems in that field. Therefore, it was stated that either no quality assurance system at all or only quality assurance for fragmented procedures, equipment, or staff are present. There is a lack of elaboration and dissemination of quality control protocols. Also, there are too many laboratories performing screening tests. There is insufficient professional training and auditing, and performance parameters and acceptable levels are not defined. The possible way to act is to include quality assurance in the work by the mandated management team. Also, it is essential to elaborate and disseminate detailed quality assurance protocols, to participate in the training, and to cooperate with neighboring countries in order to share the best practices and experiences. Scientific research should be encouraged because the decisions should be evidence-based, and now it is observed a lack of scientific research in screening. Usually, screening programs are implemented without feasibility testing, and in such a way, we are missing the objective, unbiased approach to provide information upon which the decision should be made. Also, we have to admit that researchers of new member states, candidate and potential candidate countries, are also, in a way, new in cancer screening field in terms of research, and some guidance would be appreciated. And it is not always necessary to begin with very complicated, large, high-technology research. Sometimes small-scale assessments are very useful when we want to compare different strategies or methods within the program. And it would be very helpful to do collaborative research projects with neighboring countries and old member states. And of course, it is the responsibility of research institutions to present the results and arguments based on evidence to health policy authorities. 1/3 of the participating ESSM countries identified that there are problems due to gaps in coordination and management. Mainly, there isn't any independent institution responsible for screening national and regional coordination and management teams. Also, there aren't defined responsibilities and salaried staff. So therefore, it would be reasonable to seek for EU international coordination, audit, and sustainable cooperation, helping to develop coordination and management schemes. In order to avoid the presentation to look at just a list of complaints, I would like to highlight some positive aspects of the situation. Screening programs, implementation of effective, well-organized screening programs is a very complicated process requiring a lot of knowledge, time, and resources. And therefore, we hope that step by step and all these new member states will also implement effective programs and will reduce the avoidable cancer burden. Meanwhile, it's necessary to say that there are good things that half of the ESSM countries are in final implementation stages of cancer screening programs. Also, each country has professionals understanding the importance and principles of cancer screening process. 90% of participating countries declared the presence of political will. And it is a good thing that experience of old member states may help to save time and to implement the best practice. For the end, I would like to thank very much the faculty members of ESSM, and especially Ahti, Larry, and Nereo, and of course all ESSM course participants who made their input in providing the material for this presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.